The election really was the beginning of this momentum towards beginning to question the lack of accountability that exists in our system to ensure that there's equity for women.
I'm surprised at how much has changed, but how much has not changed. And I think that's where the fire is coming from. Enough is enough. The world is a sadly dangerous place for women and girls, and we see that again and again. And I think young women are tired of it. They're tired of being undervalued. They're tired of being disregarded. They're tired of their voices not being invested in and heard. And it's not just around the world. That's happening right here in this country.
The way that the system is currently structured is that larger nonprofits with big budgets, with access to wealth, with a deep, rich network, those organizations are going to be fine regardless of what their mission is, regardless of the work they do, regardless of how they do it. So if I work at a large organization and I can just call up my friend and say, hey, we're having our gala, can you buy a table for our event? It's $20,000 a pop. If I have 3 or 4 people who can say yes to that, my job is going to be infinitely easier than at a smaller organization that's maybe more closely tied to the community, that maybe has a more radical mission, that maybe is directly opposed to this capitalist system that allows certain people to have so much wealth at the expense of everyone else.
The nonprofit industrial complex, as some of us call it, is in and of itself rooted in oppression. There's a lot of money in this field. And given that we live in a capitalist system, those with money tend to be the ones who have the most visible power and the power to enact on you.
A lot of times in the nonprofit sector, the inequities and the problems that are in the for-profit sector are mirrored.
Running a nonprofit is very challenging. There's always this lack of funding, but the excessive amount of needs, a lot harder sometimes to raise money, being a woman or being a person of color or being both.
There's a few things that are very hard to get funded. One is girls. Another is the arts. And another is programs that resist being pigeonholed.
I see a movement beginning to emerge because I see hope beginning to trump despair. I see the signs in the various small groups that are emerging all over the place to try and regain our humanity in very practical ways.
Women Unite was founded by myself and 4 of my very close friends. Post-election of He Who Will Not Be Named, we started to realize just how quickly things were escalating. So we knew that these problems always existed, right? Racism, sexism, homophobia, well before this administration. We weren't naive to that, but the difference we saw with this president was just how rapidly these problems were escalating and how the potential to undo so much progress that had been made to this point. We wanted to find ways to either increase the amount of work that we were already doing on these issues or find ways to engage people who had never been involved with these issues before.
The work to create that organization was already happening, but it became even more pressing and more urgent as a result of the political moment that we're in now.
Emergent strategies are ways of looking at the world, the natural world that we're a part of, and searching for collaborative efforts. Like, where does collaboration happen? Where is right relationship happening between humans and the planet, between different parts of the planet? And what can we as a species learn about how to be in right relationship with each other and with the planet that we're living on?
For us, we thought it was really important to try and level the playing field. So how we do that is we use our skills and our resources, a lot of which are connected to the fundraising and the nonprofit management space. So we use those to try and support and empower and equip smaller nonprofits in the work that they do. we believe in the power of women to make the world a more just and compassionate place. And for us, the way we try and operationalize that and put that into practice is to use our skills and our resources to support important community-based work that's happening in Chicago.
Assata's Daughters provides revolutionary support, political education, and leadership development to young Black people in Chicago for the purposes of escalating, deepening, and sustaining the movement for Black liberation.
Midwest Access Coalition supports people accessing abortion, and we do that by providing transportation and accommodations and other incidental expenses and logistical support while people are getting to and from their abortions. It's so important that Women Unite focuses on boots on the ground, smaller grassroots organizations, because there's just not a ton of support for organizations like ours.
She Crew provides safe spaces and expressive platforms for adolescent girls and gender expansive youth in Chicago. We do this through expressive writing, performance, communal cooking, and podcasting.
Each year, Women Unite partners with 3 organizations that are based in Chicago, and those 3 partners have access to our services for free. So the services that they get over the course of the year are fundraising and communications, graphic design and marketing, and professional training and development. To fund the free services that we offer our partners, we offer that exact same package to paying clients. That work funds our partnership.
Women Unite helped us with quite a few projects. One that was just so helpful is the designs for our newsletter. They were able to give us a few templates, print material that we just don't have the capacity to do in-house. That thought work alone, one that really showed us that they understood our style and understood what we were trying to convey.
Women Unite skill set and services helps MAC by really implementing some great structure to our organization. They implemented a grant timeline tracker as well as marketing collateral.
We ended up starting a subscription series called The Feminist Agenda, and also having a more kind of formalized partnership with our cohort. We've met up and talked with them about stresses that they were going through, difficulties that we were having, and it was really, really validating.
The first cohort that Women Unite worked with was absolutely fantastic. The depth of the work that each organization does and the critical need for it truly embodied what it is that Women Unite was trying to go for in its first year. Our partners for this year are Chicago Women's Health Center, Growing Home, and Healing to Action. And we are so excited to work with these groups because we believe that the communities that they represent and the issues that they are working on continue to be critical during the time that we're living in.
The real barriers exist to accessing healthcare and health education in Chicago, but particularly affirming and affordable healthcare and health education. And that's especially true for people with gender expansive identities. So at Chicago Women's Health Center, our services are offered on a sliding scale, and no one is turned away based on the ability to pay.
Growing Home's mission and goal really is to train people to get ready to go into the workforce, but using urban agriculture. There's a huge life expectancy gap between Streeterville or downtown Chicago and Inglewood, almost 30 years. And a lot of that really speaks to the health challenges and outcomes in this community. So it's really important to me, being a new executive director for Growing Home, that I focus on helping to create another access point for healthy, affordable produce in the Inglewood community.
In order to solve the problem of gender-based violence, it's incredibly important to center all of the communities that are disproportionately impacted. And so Healing to Action is very committed to taking an intersectional approach to its organizing, which means that we are working with a lot of different communities, including the disability community, which experiences sexual violence at a rate 7 times higher than the general population. In addition to LGBTQ communities, people who are gender nonconforming, who are often punished and disciplined through violence in order to try to conform to gender stereotypes. So it's very important to us that these communities are leading in the movement to end gender-based violence, because they really are the experts as a result of the life experiences that they bring to this movement.
I cannot emphasize this enough. Women Unite is where it is today because of its talented team and because of its talented and committed board of directors. Each and every person who is a part of this organization has bought in completely and has done exactly what we set out to do, which is to leverage their skills, their networks, their resources to advance the organizations and the work of other people.
The most recent newsletter from Women Unite, the article written by Tara Ibrahim, that dispels the idea of the American dream. This idea that like some people in our society are disposable, I think is just so infuriating to me. It's something that I've known all my life. This is what our society has created, the people who have and have nots. And that rhetoric and that ideology is being promoted even within our current system right now, very clearly. What Tara's article did was make this issue visible for so many people who probably don't think about it. And I really appreciated that. It meant a lot to me to read that article.
One of the things that Liz and Carla and I all connected over was that we read these books by an author named Adrienne Marie Brown that Liz has quoted in some of her communications with members. And it speaks to some of the model that we're all trying to develop together. And one of the things that really impressed me about Liz when I first met her was the fundraiser they do, Plantasia. And I was just like, this is my person, because, this fundraiser where you're selling plants, I'm a plant person too. And it really tied back to some of the themes in the book about how we need to shape our movements around natural life forms. When I learned about this fundraiser, I was like, this is a really creative organization. They're thinking about these issues in their fundraising and in their movement building.
They are fun, they are accessible, they are innovative, and they are absolutely choosing to give away a large portion of revenue to donate and provide services.
A lot of funders and large foundations would want to fit these organizations in a specific box. And Liz and everybody at Women Unite was like, no, I see what you're doing and I value what you're doing. And I think that these are true progressive values and we want to help you so that you can get back to doing the important work that you're trying to do without having to jump through all these hoops, without trying to fit into specific boxes. And it's like, wow, these people really understand what community work is about.
And then Women Unite come and they say, what do you need? Let me help you with what you need. We'll use our expertise to get you what you need, and we want to do that to help you grow. And it is absolutely a different model. And it's different than just cutting you a check, too. It's actually supporting you with projects that help your growth, how you think you need growth.
Our organization is really, really deeply built on relationships and on moving at the speed of trust. And that is something we've been able to accomplish with Women Unite. And so while they may leave our inbox, they will never leave our heart and will always be considered partners of ours.
The best way to support Women Unite is to become a monthly donor and by joining our Woo group. Our monthly donor program starts at $10 a month and goes up to $100. The best part about this is that Women Unite only gets 40% of the dollars raised through our membership program. 50% goes directly to our partners, totally unrestricted, and another 10% goes to our COVID-19 relief fund.
You're not being a donor, you're not being a supporter, you're becoming part of a community. And Women Unite is truly building a community of people who are seeing their work in a different way, who see that they are able to do what they love while also supporting the community that they're in.
I hope we will have generated enough of our own revenue from our paying clients where we can expand the number of partners we have each year so that we can expand the amount of free services and the amount of fundraising that we're doing for other organizations. And I hope that we have somehow shifted the conversation around philanthropy, around how nonprofits work and how nonprofit work needs to be done in ways that allow communities to meet the changing needs and demands of society.
Small groups who are making this cultural revolution that we so urgently need in our country. I think that we have to think of evolution in terms of very elemental human changes. And so we're evolving both through our knowledge and through our experiences to another stage of humankind. So revolution and evolution are no longer so separate.